Okay, so on this one, you have your parent function of x to the 1/3, which I'll just draw really quickly. It looks like this. Starts at 0, 0. It's going to be at 1, 1, and at -1, -1, and then it looks something like this. Okay, so all this question is saying is that we're taking this function, we're multiplying it by -1/2, we're taking our input and subtracting 3, and then we're adding 2. Okay, so notice that f of x, f of x is being multiplied by -1/2. So what we should do is out in front is we should write -1/2. Okay, then what's happening is our input, which is normally x, right? Here's our input, we have x here, is now x minus 3. So wherever we see an x, we have to write x minus 3. That's to the 1/3. Okay, well then 2 is being added to the whole thing, so just add 2. Great, let's draw a coordinate plane. Okay, so the starting point, we're going to shift right 3 up 2. Right 3 up 2. So we're going to go over 1, 2, 3 up 2, and there's our point. Now we have to think about how this -1/2 is doing it. So we've already taken care of the -3 and the 2. So now the -1/2, well, the negative is going to flip it. It's going to flip it vertically. And the 1/2 is going to make it so instead of going... So I just did this whole problem without recording, I realized. So let's just talk through it. This is the parent function over here. It's f of x equals x to the 1/3. You're going to have the parent functions on the final, so don't worry about that. We notice the parent function starts at 0, 0. It also is at 1, 1, and at -1, -1. Those are the 3 major points. So first, let's figure out how to write this. It says sketch -1/2 f of x minus 3 plus 2. So notice that this is f of x, so what we're saying is multiply f of x by -1/2. So that's where this -1/2 comes from. And then the input is normally x. See, so we have an x here and we input x. So what we do instead is we're inputting x minus 3 into the function. So wherever we see an x, we write x minus 3. That's raised to the 1/3 power. Okay? And then we're just adding 2 at the end. So that's where this plus 2 comes from. And this is our new function. We're now going to sketch. The minus 3 and the plus 2, that just shifts it right 3 and up 2. So that's how we get that starting point. And then this -1/2, what we would normally do is we would go over 1, up 1, right? Over 1, down 1, because that's what we do in the parent function. So instead we're going to go over 1, down 1/2, over 1, up 1/2. This is the vertical compression of the graph. And then we just draw our line, and then there is our sketch. Notice that, yeah, it's been shifted. The parent function has been shifted from its original spot, and it's been reflected, and it's been compressed. So the hardest part about this problem, I think, is just learning how to write this based on the original function, which you should practice in the review guide again, because there's one similar to that on that document. And then just knowing what each of these transformations does is tough too. So I would suggest trying to do this problem again without looking at this video or any notes if you're going to be ready for the final.